Amasakanalu. Sully here again with some travel tips for you, trying to get you to have a great trip. I'm at the airport, actually I'm at school, but we're going to pretend like this is Mustang Mountain International Airport, and I've got my carry-on bag and my personal item. I'm about to head into the terminals. But before we do that, watch this quick info video on how you need to get your boarding pass and how to read a board and do all those kind of handy things.
If you're going to travel out of big airports, you have to learn to read a departure board. Departure board is kind of like a schedule of where everybody's going and what they're doing. And if you're used to flying out of like Little Rock, our departure board has like 8 or 10 flights, and you're going to go to Dallas, Chicago, Houston, Atlanta, and maybe a few other places. But in big international airports, and the departure boards may be screen after screen after screen, they're going all over the world. And here's just an example from LAX a number of years ago. And I'm on Lufthansa flight 457 going to Frankfurt. It's going to be out of gate 105, and my departure time's 2:55, and I read here it's on time. You see some other flights, there's one delayed, there's one couple of boarding, there's one canceled, but mine's on time, and you see the local time of 11:45. But I know my boarding time, because I'm going to check my boarding pass, it's going to be around probably 2 o'clock, because big international flights, it takes a long time to get all those people on the plane. There are a lot of great free airline apps that you can get for your phone that can kind of replace the departure board. Now, I always check the board when I'm at airports anyway, but you can get these apps and plug in any flight anywhere, and you can track the flight, so people that aren't on your flight, obviously like your parents, can see kind of where you're going and what the progress is and if there's any delays. I used FlightAware for a long time, but now I'm using Flight View, and they're about the same. Again, they're free. You just plug in your airline code, like here's a United flight, and this is going to be from Vienna to Chicago, and I'm going to check the status, and there it is, and this is actually in air, so I see the times, and you can flip over to the map and see where we are. We're almost to Chicago, but you can actually track other people, you can track yourself, so if you folks want to follow. But this is Flight View, but I use FlightAware for a long time, but there's a lot of free apps you can get. Boarding passes are essentially your ticket to get on a flight. So you need to keep up with it and put it in a safe place. You can get them reprinted, but it's a big pain. They have your name on it, and they have all kinds of information, where you're going and that kind of thing. But the 4 most important pieces of information on a boarding pass are going to be your flight number, so you can check the board and see if it's on time and where to go. Your departure time, which is what time the flight's leaving, but more importantly, the boarding time, which is what time you need to be at the gate. And then they're going to have your seat number, tell you where to sit on the plane. But all boarding passes from airline to airline look different. Like here's an Air Canada boarding pass, has the same information. Flight number, where you're going, departure time, but then in bigger numbers it has boarding time because that's more important. And then of course your seat number. But this one also has a gate number. And on bigger flights it'll have that. Smaller flights like out of Little Rock and places, gates get changed all the time, but not on big flights usually. But always check the board. Here's an Air Ethiopia. It also has the flight number, but it has boarding time, of course, and military time, which is what most of the world uses, and then the seat number.
Okay, so I've made it to the airport. I've already checked in. I've got my boarding pass. I've got my passport. Here's the best way to keep your boarding pass is in the photo page of your passport, because when you hand it to people like at TSA, that's where it needs to be. And also, when you get on international flights, you'll want to hand it to them the same way, because you'll need your passport to get on the plane right as you're boarding the plane. So put your boarding pass in that page so you're not flipping around through all the stuff. Now TSA, it's kind of like church. We're kind of all doing the same thing, but everybody does it different. So you got some prayers, you got some songs, you got all that at church, but everybody does it different. TSA is the same way. They're doing the same things, but you never know. So just because you've flown a little bit before, you got to be prepared. But I got my carry-on, got my personal item, and this is not a time to be joking, okay? You can be happy, be pleasant, smile, say thank you a lot, but don't be joking. You make jokes about guns and bombs and knives and things, they're going to take you behind a large metal door with a man named Gunther, and it's not going to go well, okay? So don't be joking in the TSA line, and just keep moving along and listen to the instructions. And one of the first things you do is you're going to come up, and they're going to have to scan your passport, and they're going to check you into the TSA line. Now, we're just going to do basic TSA line today. Don't worry about TSA pre and all that. We're just going to go with the peasants today, just like normal. But don't step across the little line until the man motions for you to step up. So when he motions for you to step up, saying you're next, then you can step up, hand him and say, good morning.
Passport. Move along. Be careful on the flight. It's a bit bumpy.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And then you're going to move past. Now, while I'm in line, you can store everything in the little trays they give you, but you're going to need to take everything out of your pocket. So generally, while I'm in line, I like to do that and go ahead and store it in my bags and secure it, so I don't want it in the open bins. You can do that, but it's not a big deal. So you're going to have to take your watch off. Probably if you have a belt, you may have to take it off depending on the airport and depending on the country you're coming out of. But everything out of your pockets for the body scanner. Now, I brought something on this little video that I'm not going to take to the airport. Most of y'all know I always carry my multi-tool. I rarely am without it, but I can't take it on a plane. You show up at the airport, this kind of thing is going to get confiscated and you'll never see it again, more than likely. You can mail it back and do all that. We're not going to do that. So I will not have this at the airport, but I went ahead and brought it for the video for that reason. And I'm going to store everything. Now, my passport, I'm always going to put it in a secure spot consistently, so I always know where it is and I can check for it. Something that zippers up, something that latches and does all that kind of thing. And then as I get to the TSA line, I'm going to get my bag ready. I'm going to get it up on the little conveyor area there. I need to take my liquids out. So if you've got a little bag of like deodorant and toothpaste and all that kind of thing, I'm going to need to take that out. I'm going to put it in a bin. If it's a small bag, I can place it in a bin, and obviously these are not regular airport bins. And you're going to have to take your shoes off. They don't do this in all countries, but the United States, we have a weird thing about it, some kind of foot fetish. You have to take those things off. You put it. Hoodies, you might even have to pull that off. You had a jacket, put it in a bin. And a mistake a lot of people make, they get all their stuff off, but they don't push it up so the conveyor catches it. So it just sits there and backs up the line. But I try to store all my stuff before I'm at the conveyor belt. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to slide it through, and they're going to be barking some kind of weird instructions at you the whole time.
Please remove all items from your pockets. If you don't, Gunther will tackle you.
True story. iPads, phones, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to put in there and zipper up, and I'm going to push it in. Then you're going to have to go into the body scanner and make this little weird, and you have to have everything out of your pocket. Stick of gum, a Kleenex, all that. And you're going to step into the body scanner, and it's going to do like that, and then they're going to motion you out, okay? And you're going to step out. And then whether you had anything in your pocket, if you had something in your pockets, they're going to send you back through, or they're going to step aside. And sometimes randomly, if you look like a weirdo like me, you're going to have somebody like this. And they're going to pat you down. And they're going to wave the wand at you and see if you got any medals. And they're going to touch you weirdly, okay? And you're going to go, oh, thanks for that. You know, that's what I needed. And then you're going to get all your bags back out of the thing. Do not reach up into the machine. It'll roll out, and you're going to kind of pull it out. And always triple check that you had everything. Constantly at airports, you hear people announcing, can so-and-so come back to the TSA, you left your child on the x-ray machine. So make sure you get all your gear, and they have benches and chairs, and take all your stuff, and don't leave the area till you make sure you have all your things. If you're questioning about what kind of liquids you can take, it's basically the 3-1-1 rule. It's 3 ounces or less, one 1-quart bag. So one 1-quart bag, 3 ounces or less, 3-1-1. And you say, well, what's a liquid or gel? According to the TSA, if you can pour it, pump it, squeeze it, spread it, smear it, spray it, or spill it, it's a liquid or gel. It's really kind of a life mantra to live by. You know, pour it, pump it, squeeze it, spread it. Never mind. Okay.